Okay. You are now tuned into the Vault of Doom, hosted by me, Mickey Gemini. This is the Vault of Doom, episode 8. And you know what rhymes with the number 8? Very strong word. And the only words that I can say that will surpass any words that I could say aren't words at all. They're actually guitar riffs. So that's what the majority of this episode is going to consist of, considering that it's long overdue and I've just got all these other ideas floating around in my head about the show and don't care much to talk about it. But without further ado, I introduce to you the Vault of Doom, episode 8. Vault of Doom. So this is in following up with in continuation of the last episode where it was numbers. Numbers are quite important for most people, generally speaking. Just from if you care to look at numbers for in any kind of way, and that's basically what all music theory is, just this composition of, if I'm talking about a scale, for example, the Phrygian scale or something, and I'm like, and this is my version of the Phrygian scale, or from what memory has, and I'm going to get into a little bit about shaking the cobwebs and stuff like that, and some practices that I do very briefly. But that's like, the Phrygian scale, like boom, boom, in drop C. I think I have it mostly muted. I have this thing on mute mostly so that I can do my finger exercises. Anyway, that's and then the freaking shaking of the cobwebs part. I mean, let's just get that out of the way and all on the table right now. I mean, there isn't any shaking the cobwebs thing I do. I just chug. I just keep chugging on down through, and then the cobwebs naturally dissipate. I mean, it's nice when you have guitar teachers who are out there. Like I'm trying to think where I think, yeah, I want to say on my Twitter, I shared a lot of my previous guitar teachers where you could scroll down. I'll have to do another, like a whole load of tweets about that, where I can share some previous YouTube guitar teachers that I found that have helped out with a lot of stuff. There's three of them, and I can share their YouTubes with you on the Twitter. I mean, that's the best way to do it, but Twitter just in general is way more active and contains far more activity in general from people. So it's even if I do it again, it's like I'm going to require your participation in order to get any kind of satisfaction from or incentive to do so. The point of it basically is just to show you that it's helpful when guitar teachers have their methods and they have their things that they do for certain things, and then they can show you. I mean, all that I've actually really gotten from any of them is just literally one exercise, and I'll even show you right now. It's just even been, I don't even know what it originally was. I've actually even like added my own version of it afterwards, so that now it's just my precious, and it's just even has like everything about it is just unique to me. But that's a great way to get started, is to find a teacher, vocal coach. They're called vocal coaches. Gotta find a vocal coach, okay? Find a guitar teacher, and then go to town, just go crazy. But it's actually, no, actually, come to think of it, I'm actually mistaken, because the one I'm thinking of is one I found on some just random Google search. I was just doing some random Google search and I found something it's for classical guitar. This is a classical guitar that you're hearing right now, tuned to drop C, as is my usual. It's actually tuned to drop C, but it's got something off a little bit where it requires just a minor adjustment. I don't think that's the muting coming from the bottom muting. I think it's coming from up here on the neck. But it sounds so muted. I have to get that I have to get that first string sounding, like ringing out good. That's good. Anyway, on the last episode is numbers, and I opened up the episode by mentioning something about synthesizing the tones coming from tremolo picking. And I wanted to go into detail about that a little bit, because I don't mean to say much about it at all, other than that's just my observation. It's just that from putting the two side by side, and that's where things get things get escalated so quickly without this. It's not even an explanation. It's not like I'm explaining myself. It's just that I'm calling it like perhaps relishing and indulging in the details of all things guitar, and specifically metal. And then there are even more specifics after that. But the freaking show was actually named after my affinity for doom metal, and then there's 3 different versions of doom metal, as you would know if you search into that. So, going into any specific avenue and any route at all whatsoever in this domain here is not for beginners, let's say. So if I happen to have inspired you in some way or caused you to learn something new, please show your support and hit that like button, the follow button, the bell that gets you notifications when you got a new one. Subscribe to the YouTube or the exclusive extended cuts version of this show are available, as well as loads of other content. My Patreon just started, so I don't have any new content up yet, but I'm definitely working on something special. So that said, make sure you check out the details in the show notes and do what you can. And then, so, getting into like the whole reason for this show being in conjunction with the last episode and the numbers, and this one being about the music. So music theory is, of course, an important aspect of it, but most professionals, even, and just in general, will tell you in interviews specifically that they don't even use music theory. And that's a good attitude to have. However, it's just important to at least know what they know what they're talking about when they say that, so they have at least, been in the realm of music theory. For example, the apps available right now make it easy to learn music theory, read sheet music, and all that stuff. So you don't necessarily have that excuse nowadays. So if you can manage to do things without it, then you should be considered very lucky. I'm not sure that you would be, but you should be considered very lucky to do some pretty great things without having that attachment of music theory, because it's just the main basics of it that's important. There's really nothing else after that that's important from want to be a music theory teacher of some sort or something like that. I'm certainly not. I'm simply here to just communicate the message that numbers associated with all the scale, or what makes the scale possible. So anything that you learn from this or are interested in learning from this conversation in this episode of the Vault of Doom is not as important as when you reference it back to the numbers episode in the last one, where you can understand Phrygian scale. Now that I have the strings all clear up, I can do the Phrygian scale. My sleeve is getting caught on the freaking strings over here. There you go, that's better. And the fun about doing any kind of scale and learning any kind of scale, specifically the Phrygian, with its arrangement being like literally the same arrangement as nondescript blues scale, such as this one, that you might have heard in Black Sabbath's Fairies Wear Boots. And you won't hear it through this kind of tuning, it's drop C, but you'll hear it through standard tuning. I think that might be Warpigs. I'm not sure even, but you recognize it by the scale. It's I think that is actually Warpigs. It is Warpigs. And that's just a scale, like, or an arrangement, and then the things are just repositioned in different ways, and it's communicated by numbers. So it's this string, this fret. And then otherwise you're just a slave to the music, and it's unmerciless and unrelenting pounding upon your being and your pathetic mortal flesh. At least that's the way that I would communicate that in language, in English language, were I to be making this particular kind of music. And I'm hoping you can possibly notice some sense of humor and like tones of sense of humor in there, or have a sense of humor yourself, or you can drop a laugh emoji or something at some point. I mean, this isn't SoundCloud, so you can't get like live comments on here. This is Spotify for now, but at some point, if I am interested in doing any more SoundCloud business, as I have been dealing with them for quite some amount of time. I mean, their softwares and their format's nice and all that stuff, but they just need, like most of any other apps, they just need a good cell phone provider to function properly. And aside from that, doing live streams, obviously on Twitch, or doing live streams on YouTube, I can get live comments from you guys. And then even still, it's just not like the stuff is arranged the same way. For now, you guys are just listening on Spotify, and I gotta be totally honest with you guys, I don't even like Spotify, and I never really did. Never really even did like Spotify that much. Well, there certainly isn't any more complaints, and let's hope they don't give me any trouble after saying that. We all know how the walls have ears, especially nowadays. Anyhow, let's keep on trucking along here on this don't know, what did I call it? So it's numbers and then music theory. We'll just call it music theory. We'll keep on trucking here on this music theory discussion. I'm done with the lessons. I'm definitely not going to be teaching or anything else here. But to discuss more music theory, I mean, you should know as a music lover when you watch interviews and hear what each of these artists, the different artists, say about music theory, that there's something that like rings a bell inside of you. It's like, well, it's like calling and conjuring an opinion from within you on what you think about that. Because I certainly do. When I'm watching these guys, they all have different opinions. I mean, they're mostly the same. And we're talking even legends, like Steve Vai, or just some of the guitar playing aficionados that have said things like that they've said things like, well, I respect and have acquired music theory at some point in my life or something like that, but it's really not a necessary part of the creation of music. And then they get into detail about that. And then, obviously there's more that I could say about that. I'm just going to leave it at that and kind of put that on the table for you. And just kind of see where you see where you run with that, because it's important to know other people's perspectives here. My doing the show is not just so that I can blab all night and be a blabbermouth and just talk all night. It's like I'm trying to do the same and conjure an opinion of your own as well, and kind of see what my audience is at. I mean, you guys would be an audience where I were to take pride in the 4 views last time I checked. Like last time I checked, 4 views on the show. I'm certainly not complaining. No complaints here. That's for other people other than me who have a voice and something to say about what they've heard. And there's this cliche about what I'm saying. Well, there's also a lot of authenticity in it too. Just considering having already been successful in creating content in terms of views, and then now being where I'm at now, it's nice to be on my own, but having the opportunity and ability available to invite other people in to be guests on the show or be an admin on the show, that's something I'm going to be real reluctant to do. I'm definitely not going to be looking forward to have any more admins on the show and giving them any kind of admin access to my show or anything like that. Anyway, let's get back to guitars and music theory here. So, I'd actually mixed up the two scales. Like, the one isn't actually a scale. It's a finger exercise. I'll mute the strings for this, so you'll still be able to hear the guitar. It'll just be a lot quieter. It'll sound more like this as opposed to this. And I have my rig set up where I can do that with something else other than my hands or the palm muting. We all know palm muting. I lied. I guess I'm teaching you something right there. Palm muting is a very valuable asset to your guitar playing repertoire. Palm muting is literally your best friend. You will need to palm mute way more than you need to play guitar if you play guitar like I play guitar, because the way that I play guitar is completely composed of not necessarily having everything perfect, but I need to be able to hear what my body's saying before I start hearing the notes. Like the ears and what I'm hearing in my ears can come later. My body, even as beat up to shit as it is, I need to have the fucking muscle memory down pat and the motion under control first. So having that with my rig set up like this, going to sound like this and like this, where it's all ringing out. See, I can already tell. It's just like one of the. I think the fifth string is
It is fantastic to rock with you.
It's like the fifth string is lower than the sixth string. It's not that I'm trying, but I'm pushing too hard.
Fucking are you ready? Let's go! Smothering affliction, smell the waves of a white moth, trapped inside a shadow cage. Words down the whip of a liar, not the tractor breath, run her mouth, slowly covered with the knife. Lay your hands on she blending aside, became the keeper of the garden with the secrets of a serpent. Nightingale never sang again, walked quietly into the forest. Lay your hands on secrets of a
I was actually fucking Googling that before, but I was searching for the metal hammer. At least as far as I know, it's metal hammer. I was looking for fucking metal hammer. And it went to Russian, and it was all in straight Russian. And although I can translate,
when the earth stayed, why see a brother of a monster? Stalking a children, so that was a minus. What grabs us, what painless face? Thank you so much, rockin'! We are new metal, all the way from Finland.
Make sure you guys check out the show notes. Follow me on the socials.
We have an extra instrument. Have you seen this before?
And hop on over to YouTube, where you're gonna find out what the hell's going on
Yes,
next.
it's called kantele. It's the national instrument of Finland.
And don't forget, the
The next song is about death and darkness. It's called Equinox.
Let's get into the fucking Vault of Doom podcast. Hello there. Hold on, this still doesn't look right. Hold on. There you go. Let's get into the Vault of Doom podcast, episodes 8.5 and 8.75, so that we can proceed into episode 9 coming up next week. Lest we forget, episode 10 and episode 11. This is the Vault of Doom podcast, and I am your host, Mickey Gemini. And you wouldn't have a fucking podcast without a proper fucking introduction, right? So, cheers with your beers. For it's bad luck to cheers with water, if that's all you're drinking. Without further ado, this is podcast, hosted by me, Mickey Gemini. So let's get into episodes 8.5 and 8.75. So, my feed is saying something about defect designer and Chichen review by Angry Metal Guy. You know, a lot of people post a lot of fucking reviews nowadays. There's a lot of fucking reviews about this shit, and there's really not a lot of the people making the reviews, like, promoting their own shit. I have a big problem with that. Like, I have a seriously big fucking problem with that. I have a very big problem with people not posting their own fucking music and shit like that. But hey, let's keep on trucking. 3 days ago, Unleashed the Archers via Napalm Records has just released Ghosts in the Mists, an official performance video. Now that's interesting. The terminology of performance video. I mean, just to sift through all this bullshit, honestly. I mean, honestly, like, really? What the fuck is wrong with me that I can't seem to find any other performance videos other than Unleash the Archers? And if you follow me on Twitter, you certainly can find Brittany Slays, whom you are seeing right now, right here, right now, on the fucking goddamn show that I host. I mean, let's keep on moving, just so I can keep my fucking desire going. Cradle of Filth is back in the studio recording a new album. They better be fucking recording a new fucking album. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, are you fucking absolutely kidding me? Are you joking right now? Are you playing some kind of joke? Are you playing some kind of joke that not only you are aware of, but that everybody else is also aware of, or that you are expecting everyone else to be aware of you playing a joke? Trouble in Their Dover Lives was not actually a fucking album. That was a fucking live studio re-recording and rehashing of the whole thing. With somebody that fucking made the whole thing fucking, hold on a second. I gotta wipe my nose. German style. The fucking last album by these guys had Demon Prince Regent, She Is a Fire, and then the third one, which even if I fucking knew, I wouldn't tell you. Irregardless of the fact that I'm hosting a fucking and literally conducting and literally recording a fucking podcast right now. So I was disappointed. I was hella disappointed, but really actually not all that disappointed at all whatsoever, considering the fact of the quality of the songs that were actually put out on the last album. And especially considering the fucking last album prior to that. The prior... Existence is Futile. A fucking absolute masterpiece. So, they're in there recording a new album according to Metal Sucks. Of course we love Metal Sucks. Everybody loves Metal Sucks. Even if you don't like Metal Sucks, you now like Metal Sucks. So if you listen to other metal podcasts, and then you listen to my podcast, and then you're watching the fucking exclusive extended cuts. Exclusive extended cuts. Honestly, I can't even remember the exact arrangement. I think that's truly what metal's all about. So as for anything else we have left in line, for the show, excuse me. please excuse me. I would totally play some other music other than what I made. Inconvenience. Or play some music that I made in absolute retardation. Though it isn't quite retardation. It would actually be more that I prepared something for you that I made. But instead, I'd just rather have you listen to me doing these fucking extended exclusive cuts while we truck on through. Because if you don't know, now you know that these are actually the last extended exclusive cuts of the month. Whatever particular arrangement that I decide to have for next month, the month of April, when Easter came, and Jesus supposedly rose from the fucking tomb, as well as while Purges knocked. It is yet to be decided, my friends. It is yet to fucking be decided. So I'm normally really actually on point and ready to fucking rock. But let's see if my body is responding in the same possible way. It doesn't seem that it is. So I'm having one hiccup and then and then another hiccup and then more hiccups afterwards. And at this point, I'm just rooting for the underdog now at this point. So. For the umpteenth time now, I've seen the therapist reacting to Vicarious by Tool from Heart Support while I'm being bombarded by some fucking skateboards with fucking hearts on them. Alright, Slipknot Duality drum cover by Christina Rybachenko. Anything that keeps you away from black metal is all that I'm all about. So, Sacrificial Vein, Black Terror, Genesis review from Angry Metal Guy, New Badge, Rock Bear, Bach Bear, Beer Day. Bach Beer Day, okay, alright. Go ahead, lift up the fucking... obviously black metal originated in Norway, but who's right down south? Who's right below that? Some German guys. Alright, there you go. Alright, Dragon Force. Warped Speed Warriors review. I'm good on the Dragon Force, and I'm good on the fucking In Flames, and I'm also not gonna fucking give a flying fuck about anything else at any point in time. Now, one thing that's important for me to fucking emphasize to you guys while I'm here and all that is the what I have out right now. And I have this out right now, and Let me see here. You're navigating through my phone right now, and I'm not trying to give you too much personal information, but this isn't the feed. This is Metal Hammer. And how I want to see what the fuck Rob Halford has to say about black metal, because I was seeing something about that, and then if you're waiting on that, you certainly can fucking enjoy this. How the downward, we're on Metal Hammer magazine right now, how the downward spiral changed everything. 30 years after it was released, the legacy of Nine Inch Nails' second album is huge. Members of Linkin Park, Code Orange, Health, and more dive into Trent Reznor's dark masterpiece. Ooh. Now, let's check it out. It's a big article. I'm not going to read all this. What we're going to do is check out some pictures. Ooh. The totally iconic fucking picture of Trent Reznor. The totally magazine friendly picture of Trent Reznor. And then wherever the fuck my eyes catch it. If you listen to that record from start to finish, it's completely immersive. Adds Jake Duznick. It creates a very cinematic sort of backdrop. This is a fucked episode, by the way. It's just so helpful that it's on episode 8.5. Which is obviously something that David Fincher recognized in it. Fincher directed the classic movie Fight Club. What did it look? Now I'm yawning. This is even worse. It gets worse, folks. It gets worse. In case you were thinking of commenting in some crazy way, you know, I literally have to pause the film and then come back and then redeem myself in the next couple minutes. Mickey Gemini, Walter Doom, finishing up this episode here. I'm going to get into the smart downloads that YouTube provided me with. Or at least the promotion of that. And I'm going to promote that. And that you get YouTube Premium and fucking hit that up. And then see what the fuck is up. Yo. Let's get into the fucking business. That's what the show is all about. So here we have this Trent Reznor, Nine Inch Nails article that is so long. I can't read all this for you. Even if I could. I'm already just looking at that monumental one right here. And then, like, let's see what else we can skip through. And skip it already, and skip it and then, oh, look at these bands, and then, oh, look at this, and then Blaze Bailey has completely fucking completed the fucking show for me, so that's the end of the show, you guys. That's it. This is a fucking extended fucking cuts exclusive, and I'm eating fucking human remains over here. I gotta go. Tune into the next fucking episode, bitches. Make a Gemini Vault of Doom out. Alright, guys. So you are tuned into the Vault of Doom episode 8.75. And I am broadcasting to you with software that does not have a watermark. That said, there's a bunch of metal we gotta cover right now. And let's start with Cattle Decapitation. A band that is completely fucking dedicated to not harming animals. According to Metal Hammer, Travis Ryan's Cattle Decapitation is extreme metal's most presciently pessimistic band, as they talk bug and monsters, betrayal by Metallica, and playing arenas with the monomorph. You should certainly check out these fucking guys and what they're actually doing for the animal community. For you will certainly find a whole shitload and lots of accuracy on what they're saying. So according to Metal Hammer, the support that they were given on last year's Terracite album were 1,000 and plus % capacity. Impressive for a band as nasty as Cattle Decap. Was it your most successful ever? They said 2022 was the worst year on record personally, but it ended rather amazingly, with the band playing our first arenas opening for Amon Amarth. It set the tone for 2023, which was nothing but insane shows on the heels of our new album. I mean, listen to these guys for even more than 5 seconds. And you'll just be like, hey, alright, these are the new underrated fucking... This is the new underrated fucking group. For sure. And then Metal Hammer asked, how did Cattle Decapitation blow up to the point of playing arenas? They said, I don't know. If there's any real answer. For lack of a better example, I've been calling it Doom. The Doom EP effect. It's not the Job for Cowboys 2005 Doom EP was this magnificent piece of art. What I witnessed was a band pursuing the benefit of timing in the form of fucking golden key to the city. Them and Suicide Silence exploded, and it appeared to be of a generation of kids where it hit them all at a certain time in their lives and just popped. We're seeing it again now with this. What third wave of deathcore and this new wave of old school death metal? And the hit with that commentary side again. 2019 still that let's grieve the end of the world. Where did you even start picking up the third side after that? Big monsters, bug monsters. See the human cockroach hybrid of the cover. Death Atlas is our most important album musically. But Terrasite blew the doors open from all that misery to finally have some fun, concept-wise, and some slightly more upbeat bangers. Your unclean melodic vocals are pretty legendary at this point. What does it take to maintain that voice? A warm-up. I learned from Trey Anastasio from Fish. He used a straw that you put in about 3 inches of water in a bottle. You blow it into it while doing this regularly. Really dumb high to low and back again spectrum. People are just not used to hearing vocal melody over a wall of black and progressive death grind or whatever the hell you call this stuff. incite you to sneak these experimental elements into death metal records? Since the beginning, I have always wanted to subvert the death metal paradigm. I'm considered by some to be a death metal elitist. But in the early 2000s, we were pariahs of the local death metal scene. I feel we're now relishing in the fruits of our labor. How much of your lyrical content should be taken as literal calls for social and political action versus leaning into the blackest for extreme artistic expression? And he was like, when reading the lyrics, you'll see that I mostly use the words we and us when describing humans' adverse interactions with the planet, its resources, its organisms. I've never claimed to know the answers, but I sure do a lot of bitching and complaining. I can't say there's a direct anything in there other than a disdain for our species. And then Metal Hammer was like, now on your 8th album, you're more popular than ever. How did you manage to avoid being one of those bands who are defined by their first few albums? He was like, in this manner, Cattle Decapitation are truly an anomaly. In the late 80s, though, around 1992 or so, I was one of these. The first 4 albums kind of guys. The Black Album was absolutely reunious to the way I viewed bands and music at the time, as I just wanted to hear things get faster and more aggressive. It told me that you may one day feel that your heroes can just turn on you and put their middle finger right up against your face while smiling all the way to the bank. And they'd be like, do Cattle Decapitation get much of that? And he was like, hold on, I gotta take a break. But after he took a break, he was like, there definitely are few out there who feel that's what our best stuff was, but they're practically silenced by our fans of our last 10 years of output. It's one of the reasons we don't play the old stuff live anymore. The crowd dies down when we do. Getting older is a trip, but seeing your band rise and do what you always wanted to do as a young adult adds considerably to the mind fuck that is aging. I thank you all from the depths of my heart, from the superior section of its aorta to its distal, inferior ventricular counterpart. May you survive everything that's coming. And then the announcement from them is that Terracite is out now via Metal Blade Records. Cattle Decapitation, the UK tour, United Kingdom tour, starts in Brighton on March. Alright guys, let's check out the old Twitter. See what's going on down here. So I just gotten word from Jamie Jossa today about Monday night, March 25th podcast party. sitting on back-to-back episodes of Daughtry and Marty Freedom, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now that's some fucking shit, man. That's some fucking shit. Check that fucking out. Looks like he is. Let's pop on in and see what the fuck is going on. That's his Patreon. That's fucking Jamie Josta's fucking Patreon. Looks like I have to check that out, man. And just like look into that a little bit further. But on down below here we have from Mysticum Industrial Black. You ready, Sydney? Show me that. Yeah, show me that fucking orgasm, man. That's what I call that fucking extreme metal orgasm. These guys, we undercut and completely undermine fucking American extreme metal artists. That's for certain, dude. You couldn't fucking cut that with a knife if you had a fucking buck knife. You know what I'm saying? It's like these kids nowadays, they fucking hear the word buck knife and they're like, oh, that's just a term to them, you know, it doesn't fucking actually mean anything. Buck actually makes a knife. Like, and they mass produce the knife called Buck that like you can purchase at the store. Like you can walk inside of a store and say, I'm looking for a buck knife. And then like if somebody says no to you, then you literally immediately turn around right away in search of your buck knife. And then you fucking go into a gun shop. People selling like guns and ammunition. And then you fucking say, hey, I'm looking for a fucking buck knife. Like, that's what I have come here for. And meanwhile, guys jamming the fuck out on bass, right? 6-string bass. Yeah, 6-string bass. And then here's Mark and his Les Paul, his Gibson Les Paul. Is that a Gibson? Did I see the fucking Gibson? Yeah, that's a Gibson. And, oh, look at all the badass art right behind him and shit. And then fucking, yeah. What else we got here? Some random ass shit, basically. Like, somebody has their hand in the way. It's like, hey, your hand, excuse me, but your hand is in the way. It's like, I can't fucking deal with the fact that your hand is in the way of me and my commentary of fucking... I guess basically I'm just making fun of all podcasters, you know what I'm saying? Like, anyway, here we go. Emperor, Wrath of the fucking Tyrant. And then, what is this? You know what I'm saying? What the fuck is this though? You know, it's like the same exact fucking thing that motherfuckers were like already knew. It's like, alright, now I'm stepping into the fucking political fucking territory. Dark Throne, fucking Soulside Journey and shit. Like, what are they doing? What the fuck are they doing? They're just walking down fucking a frozen lake. Like, oh, good for you. You're gonna walk down a frozen lake. Like, I feel the same exact way as if I was, bombarded and intimidated by a loud fucking rice burner or some fucking loud car that was like souped up with some fucking fuel injected fucking twin turbo fucking, if I had any actual equipment that really were adequate for fucking, being fit for fucking street racing, like illegal street racing and shit like that. Like, I don't know what the fuck that has at all to do with Dark Throne or fucking Emperor. But let's keep on scrolling anyway. And here's a heel long and a bunch of other shit that it's not gonna show me. So the feed is the feed, and that's what the fuck the feed is, and we're done with that, and then let's go ahead and, well, there really isn't any other feed. It turns out that that exact moment happens to be the end of now, so that's the end of 8.75, and Mickey Gemini is the Vault of Doom. See you guys on episode motherfucking 9, you bitch ass motherfuckers.